Welcome to our channel. Today, we are diving into the fascinating world of opal cutting, where artistry meets precision. Opals are one of the most mesmerizing gemstones, but unlocking their true beauty takes skill, patience, and a touch of creativity. From rough, uncut stones to dazzling, polished gems, the journey of an opal is a story of transformation. In this video, we'll explore sparkles, the tools and techniques used by expert cutters. Sparkles, the challenges of preserving the opal's fire and brilliance. Sparkles and the secrets behind creating flawless, high-value gems. Whether you're an enthusiast, a collector, or someone curious about the magic of gemstones, this video will illuminate the intricate art and science of opal cutting. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more captivating insights into the world of gemstones.
Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be talking about opal cutting.
Sounds beautiful, but also intimidating, maybe? I mean, gemstones, right?
Yeah, it is. There's definitely a lot of skill involved. For this one, we're going to be checking out a video by an opal cutter named Justin. He's got this YouTube channel called Black Opal Direct. And in this video, he takes us through the whole process of cutting a rough opal.
I see, from start to finish.
Yep, the whole thing. And get this, the rough stone he's starting with is valued at about $100, but after cutting, it could be worth as much as $2,000.
Wow. Okay, so that's quite a transformation. It really does highlight how much value is added through, the skill and artistry of a cutter.
Exactly. So in the video, we start off with Justin showing us this rough opal. It's got a lot of what he calls potch, which is like the gray, less desirable part of the opal. But running through it, there's this bright color bar that's the part with all the mesmerizing rainbow flashes.
I see. So, I imagine for a cutter, seeing that color bar for the first time must be pretty exciting, like a sneak peek into the potential of the stone.
Yeah, definitely. And it's not always a sure thing, right? Because you never really know what's going to be under all that potch until you start cutting. Justin actually uses this specialized gemstone torch called the Gemfish IF1 to help him analyze the opal and figure out the best way to cut it.
So he's got like a special tool to help him see what's inside the stone. I like it.
Exactly. It's like X-ray vision for opals. For this particular opal, he estimates he can cut about a 2 to 3 carat gem. But of course, with each cut, he's taking a risk. One wrong move, and the value of the gem could plummet.
Right. You really got to know what you're doing. So tell me, what happens with that first cut?
Well, Justin starts by carefully removing that outer layer of potch, and you can almost feel the tension in the video as he gets closer and closer to the color bar.
I bet. I'd be holding my breath the whole time.
And then there's this moment where the color starts to emerge. It's incredible, like watching a flower bloom, but, way faster. You see those vibrant flashes of color dancing across the surface. I bet that's got to be such a rewarding moment for a cutter.
Absolutely. Seeing the fruits of your labor, that payoff.
But, as with any creative process, right, there are always unexpected challenges. And in this case, as Justin is shaping the gem, a small chip appears on the surface.
Oh, no. I'm sure he's handled that before, right? It's probably more common than you think.
You'd think, but you can see in the video that even he was taken aback. Like your heart would skip a beat, that chip could potentially ruin the entire gem.
So what does he do? Does he try to hide it, or?
Well, instead of panicking, he takes a moment to reassess the situation and then adjusts his cutting strategy to work around the chip.
It's pretty amazing to watch him think on his feet like that.
I can only imagine. To be able to change your plans like that,
Yeah.
It really shows his expertise.
Right.
Because he manages to incorporate that chip into the final design and preserve as much of that beautiful color bar as possible.
Sounds like a true master at work.
It is. It really makes you realize that sometimes those unexpected obstacles, they can actually lead to some pretty creative solutions.
Totally. Necessity is the mother of invention, right? And sometimes limitations force you to think outside the box. So how does he end up using the chip in the final piece? He kind of makes it part of the opal's natural form, like he works with it. He says the final gem has flagstone, chaff, a little bit of script pattern, and broad flash.
Okay, I got to admit, some of those terms are a little over my head. What exactly do those patterns look like? For those of us who aren't, opal experts.
Sure. Think of it like describing the patterns you see in a snowflake, right? Each one's unique. So Flagstone refers to those bigger patches of color, kind of angular, and chaff are those tiny, sparkly bits you see. Script pattern is like, well, delicate lines of color. And then broad flash means the color flashes over a wider area of the stone.
Okay, that makes sense. So each opal really is one of a kind, with its own, like, fingerprint of colors and patterns.
Exactly. And you can tell Justin's happy with how it turned out, especially since he had to deal with that chip. Really shows his skill as a cutter.
And the cool thing is, he doesn't just cut these opals, he actually sells them directly on his website, blackopaldirect.com. I think that's awesome. Cuts out the middleman, you know?
Yeah.
The artist gets to connect directly with the buyer.
It's a great way to do business, for sure. He's in control of the whole process, from picking the rough stone to the final product.
Totally. It's like you're not just buying a piece of jewelry. You're buying, like, a piece of art with a whole story behind it. Can you imagine someone wearing one of Justin's opals and telling people about, like, where it came from, how it was cut, even about that chip, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That definitely adds another level to it, more than just a pretty stone.
Speaking of which, what really struck you about how Justin handled that whole chip situation?
I mean, he was so calm. It would be easy to, like, freak out,
Yeah?
you know? But he just rolled with it, which is a good reminder for all of us, I think. There are going to be curveballs, but it's how you adapt that matters.
Yeah, I agree. What other fields or jobs can you think of where that kind of thinking on your feet, being adaptable, is super important?
Oh, tons. I mean, think about the medical field, right? Doctors, nurses, they're always dealing with the unexpected. They've got to make decisions in a split second sometimes.
Right, exactly. Lives depend on it.
And entrepreneurs, they have to keep up with constantly changing markets and, figure out what customers want. And sometimes things just don't go to plan, so they have to change course.
Totally.
Yeah.
So that ability to change directions, to adapt, is pretty vital no matter what you do, huh?
For sure. You almost have to train yourself to look at things differently, not be afraid of the unexpected, but kind of welcome it, like, oh, this is an opportunity.
I like that. Remember how Justin said, it's amazing how much life can be in an opal?
Yeah, that was a good one. He wasn't just talking about, the way the colors flash or anything.
Definitely. So what do you think he meant by that?
I think he was talking about, well, how everything, even something as plain as a rock, has this potential. And through skill, and in this case, art, something beautiful is revealed. It kind of reminds me of, like, life in general, doesn't it?
I see what you mean. Like, we all have this raw potential inside us, waiting to be, like, shaped and polished. We're all works in progress, right?
Exactly. So how can we apply that idea to our own lives? How do we find that life, that potential?
I love that question. I think one way is to stay open to new things. Don't be afraid to try something new. Be curious. You never know what talents or passions you might find.
That's a great point. Like having a beginner's mind, right? No matter how much you think you know, be open to learning and experiencing new things like a child. What else do you think?
Yeah. Like a kid again, right?
Yeah.
Everything is new and exciting.
Exactly. And speaking of excitement, I think gratitude plays a big part too.
Oh, definitely. Gratitude is huge.
Like taking time to really appreciate the good things, no matter how small they are. It can really change your whole perspective,
It's true. It's so easy to get caught up in the everyday stuff and forget about all the amazing things we have. But when you focus on what you're grateful for, it's like, wow.
It shifts everything, right? It helps you see all the good even when things are tough. It's like, remember those color bars we were talking about? Those moments of joy, gratitude makes them even brighter.
I love that analogy. So we've talked about being open to new things and gratitude. What else helps us nurture that life inside us, that potential, like Justin said?
Well, don't forget about creativity.
Ah, yes. Letting that creative juice flow.
It's so important, I think, to find ways to express yourself. Art, music, writing, whatever it is.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like professional level stuff either. Just something you enjoy. Like, I love to cook. It's creative for me.
Exactly. It's the process that matters. Letting your imagination go wild, bringing something new into the world, no matter how small.
It's like giving yourself permission to play, to experiment, and not worry about being perfect. And hey, who knows? Maybe you'll even surprise yourself and discover some hidden talent you never knew you had.
You never know, right? You might even uncover your own unique color bars, like those hidden gems inside. Speaking of which, when we were talking about how Justin sells his opals online, it made me think about how much the internet has changed things for artists and creators.
Oh yeah, it's been huge, like a total game changer.
It's given them a way to connect with people directly, build a community, share their work without having to go through, the traditional ways of doing things.
It's empowering, right? They can kind of make their own path now.
Exactly. And it's made art more accessible for everyone, too, both for the people making it and the people who enjoy it.
It's like it's opened up a whole new world. So as we wrap up our deep dive into opal cutting, what are some things you hope people take away from this?
Well, first of all, I hope they have a better understanding of, what goes into making those beautiful gemstones, the skill and artistry involved. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's not just like picking up a rock and polishing it. There's a lot more to it.
Right. And I think Justin's story also shows us that it's important to face challenges head on. Be willing to adapt when things change and, to always be looking for that hidden potential both in ourselves and in the world.
And to remember that life Justin was talking about, that spark, it's everywhere. In nature, in each other, everywhere. We just have to be open to seeing it.
Well said. Be curious, be grateful, and never stop exploring.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, everyone.